Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving right into something that literally shapes every single second of your life, your brain. But look, we aren't just going to treat it like some static organs sitting up there in your skull. No, we're going to explore how to actually operate it like a finely tuned biological instrument. We're taking these really fascinating ancient meditative techniques and unpacking the hard, modern biology behind them. Basically, we're looking at exactly how your physical brain maps out your entire reality.
So, let me ask you this. Are you driving your brain on autopilot? For most of us, if we're being totally honest, the answer is a resounding yes. Think about it. We wake up, we react to our overflowing inbox, we react to the crazy traffic, we react to stress. It's just react, react, react. We're living completely on autopilot. But what if you could actually take the wheel of your own biological hardware? What if you stopped just waiting for life to happen to you and started intentionally steering your own mental state? That absolute urgent need to shift from being a passenger to being the driver, that is exactly what we're unpacking today.
Okay, let's dive into this. The saying goes, mind control is the ultimate form of self-mastery. Now wait, I know the phrase mind control can sound, a little spooky. It instantly brings up these images of sci-fi movies where some villain is manipulating people's thoughts. Let's just completely dispel that right off the bat. In this context, mind control is entirely internal. It is all about taking conscious command of that wild electromagnetic dance happening right now inside your own cranium. It's about you mastering you. And to understand how we actually pull off this mastery, we really need to look at the underlying biological mechanism that makes the whole shebang possible.
All right, Section 1, the cortical landscape. Let's get into it.
Here we have our star player, the cerebral cortex. You know the one. It's that wrinkled outer layer of your brain. Now, we typically think of it as the seat of all our complex reasoning and sensory stuff, kind of like the super rigid biological computer. But we really need to start looking at it differently. The cortex isn't just a calculator, guys. It is a gateway. It acts as this absolutely crucial translator between the deep, older parts of your brain, where all your subconscious intuition hangs out, and your conscious waking awareness. Just imagine these brilliant, intuitive insights bubbling up from your subconscious. If your cortex is super stressed out, it's honestly like trying to hear those amazing insights by shouting through a thick brick wall. The message just gets totally lost in all the noise. But when you actively calm your mind, you fundamentally transform that connection. Suddenly, poof, the thick wall is completely gone, and you've got this direct, crystal clear telephone line straight from your deepest intuition right to your active logic. Just look at the massive difference in these two environments. Day to day, we operate mostly in what's called the beta state. That's our normal waking state. And let's face it, it's usually cluttered, full of static, and incredibly stressed. All that erratic beta wave activity is literally blocking your higher intelligence from getting through. But when we consciously drop our brainwaves down into the alpha level, wow, everything changes. The alpha state is fluid, it's calm. Settling your mind into alpha basically wipes away all that cortical static, which allows the signals of your higher intelligence to come through loud and clear. So the big question is, once we hit that clear alpha state, what on earth do we actually do with it?
Which brings us to Section 2, visualization as neural wiring.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. Imagine that your brain is a vast, untouched, snowy field. Now, this isn't just some pretty, poetic picture. It is actually a profound metaphor for how your thoughts physically alter your biology. I feel like we so often dismiss visualization as just, a whimsical daydream. But in reality, it is a rigorous cortical exercise. Every single time you hold a thought, you are essentially taking a walk right across that snowy field.
Let's break down the actual mechanics of how this works, step by step. The very first time you think about a goal or a solution, you take a walk through that field, but you're only leaving really faint tracks. Step 2, though, is where the real magic happens. When you visualize that exact same goal repeatedly, specifically while you're in that calm alpha state, you start packing down a solid path in the snow. And finally, step 3, that packed down path turns into a full-blown highway. You are literally firing a specific pattern of neurons over and over again until your cortex becomes completely hardwired to look out for the opportunities, the resources, and the synchronicities that perfectly align with that image you've been projecting. How cool is that?
And that brings us to this massively empowering truth. You are pre-mapping your reality. You see, your brain is essentially the ultimate prediction machine. By deliberately using your cortical processes to visualize your goals in the alpha state, you are explicitly telling your brain, hey, this is the environment I expect to find.
And what does your brain do? It goes right out into the world to find the hard evidence to support that expectation. I mean, this is how you truly, literally earn the title of mind control. But okay, now that we know how to wire the brain, how do we actually balance this with our daily, super rational lives?
Let's look at Section 3, Bridging Intuition and Logic.
A lot of people really struggle here because they genuinely think they have to make a choice. Like, are you a logical person or are you an intuitive person? But if you look at how these two sides actually interact, it proves why that is just a complete false dichotomy. The cortex is the bridge between the two. The real secret sauce of high achievers is this exact cycle right here. They step into the alpha level for that deep intuitive discovery, basically inviting their logic to just go take a coffee break. Then, they bring that incredible insight right back up to the beta level for rigorous logical execution. You don't pick one over the other, you just use both of them in the right order.
So let's break down how this actually builds into a highly practical, step-by-step method you can use literally the next time you face a tough dilemma. First, you clearly acknowledge the problem. Just name it. Second, you intentionally sink down into that nice, calm alpha level. Third, hold the problem in your mind's eye, but do it with a really light, non-attached touch. Don't force it. And fourth, just get out of the way and let your brain explore all those crazy connections that your stressed-out beta mind simply couldn't perceive. When you do this, you aren't doing anything mystical. You're just finally letting your biological hardware do exactly what it was designed to do.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that when the solution finally pops up, that sudden, seemingly magical aha moment, it actually isn't magic at all. It is literally just your biological hardware hard at work. Neurologically speaking, your cortex has successfully grabbed a pattern from your deep subconscious and smoothly translated it into a conscious cognitive insight. You just finally provided your brain with the right environment, that alpha state, to make the translation possible. But of course, the next logical question is, how do we actually maintain this? Because let's be real, we can't just spend all day sitting on a meditation cushion. We've got to bring this into our chaotic everyday lives. That brings us to our final part, Section 4, Living in Conscious Flow. If you want to keep your cortex truly engaged and stop yourself from immediately falling back into that lazy autopilot mode, you have to maintain what we call the watch yourself. What does that actually mean? Well, it means when you're talking to someone, really genuinely listen to them. When you're working on a task, be 100% fully present with it. And this is the most critical one. When you're feeling a super strong emotion, just observe that emotion without actually becoming the emotion. This kind of active, conscious awareness is what keeps your mind highly intentional, rather than just purely reactive. And guys, what you are actually doing by practicing this watch yourself and doing your alpha visualizations every single day is honestly profound. You're actively training your cortex to remain completely calm in the middle of chaos. You're developing this unshakable resilience. And it's so powerful because it isn't just a temporary mood. It's a literal physical change rooted deep within the very structure of your brain. You are building an instrument that is capable of perceiving things that the average person would just shrug off and dismiss as mere coincidence. You are the architect of your own experience. I absolutely love that. You are not just some helpless victim of circumstance. Your conscious logic and your subconscious power can actually shake hands, and when they do, you can create monumental shifts in your external world just through these simple mental exercises. So start treating your mind with the respect you'd give a mentor. Practice your levels, because at the end of the day, the ultimate question is this: if your brain is a vast, untouched snowy field, what reality are you going to pre-map today?